Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the show. I am Anita Ofili Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Obiajilu Ugo. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. You know, this when you get into business, you need to cook your blood because some things will happen that would shake you from time to time. Not just from the business angle, the customers as well. So recently, I sold some products to a customer abroad. And there was one of the hairs that was not ready because I get them in bundles and then I have to wig them. Some of them come in factory wigged already, so they come as wigs. Some come in bundles. So the rest were ready. We just had one left to do, and it took a bit of time, and she panicked. Sent me messages, I hope you're not going to scam me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, madam, calm down. I've been doing business with people abroad, don't worry. So yesterday, she sent me a message that she got the products, she got the wigs. I sent her a dress free to compensate her, and she said she loved the wigs. I said, thank God, at least someone else has scammed her. I don't scam people. And I don't blame them because a lot of people online actually do scam people. So
You've been scammed too online?
Yes, twice. Twice, but
I'm thinking I should find the business to start because my mother was such a fantastic business. There's something that woman does not sell.
Over and over again.
I can't find something.
You have dabbled in tiger nuts, and it was not bad.
Yes, it was doing very well. I don't know what happened though.
You lost this.
My mother has shop in Aladi Market.
What is your why? Why do you want to sell?
Yeah.
Because I feel that my mother has been selling all her life. I want to go and sell.
That's a wrong why.
So I don't know. That's why somebody must take over the business. Somebody must take over that.
Your children can. Your children
know. I will
if any of them.
How you doing? I like your outfit.
I'm very good.
Lace or what?
Yes, it's lace. All the way from Ogbomoso.
Wow.
Let me let the embroidery show well.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Some, you know, those Hausa, Fulani stuff did it in Ogbomoso and sent it to me from Olamide. Thank you. Today, my children, my twins are 11. You know, every time...
Happy birthday.
Every time we're celebrating my children's birthday, I'm celebrating myself, 11 years of motherhood. My husband is not around, so I called him. I said, happy 11th year of fatherhood. You should write a book. But I'm grateful to God for my kids. But yesterday, I went to visit my mom. I was planning to surprise my mom for her birthday yesterday. And I was surprised with the traffic. I spent almost 3 hours between Sele and Sonya. People that know Papa Oshoja Expressway know that this is a 5-minute journey. So the road has been under construction for too long. I'm talking for the past 5 years, that road has been under construction. Please, federal government, please, Lagos State government, there was no presence of any law enforcement agency on the roads, but the good boys of Lagos were on ground and they really helped. They didn't harass. I was a bit worried because in their voices, they're very, very aggressive and their voice is very, very strong. I thought at some point they would be taxing us for money or harassing us, but they didn't at all. They were trying to make traffic work, but there was just like 200% high lawlessness. It was just lawlessness. You are battling Okada, you're facing each other, they blocked the road. Please, as much as possible, as we trust the good boys are doing a good job, we need the presence of
the police.
And then we need speedy work. The construction work process, Morayo, was not done well. They littered the small road you are carrying. You have to, the two people have two express road confined into one small road and littered with construction debris. So you have piles of concrete on the road. So you are overtaking concrete and then somebody is coming in front of you. I felt that it could be managed better. I had to just come and talk about this today.
Well done. Time has gone.
Thank you. That is all we can take.
Mariah, Good Friday now. Wish us Good Friday.
You that you're talking to
Wish us Good Friday. If I lament, you will compliment.
Happy Good Friday to all our Christian brothers and sisters across the world. That means no meat today. A lot of
for Catholics.
For Catholics. But we always try to just
thank you. Who are you trying to
do? For Free John. The auntie that gives me Free John is not in town. So I'm desperately looking for Free John this week.
They always send to you finally.
She always sends me, but she's in Abuja and she's in a very, very different mood right now. So I need Free John. If I can find Free John,
send it to TVC.
I'll be happy to pick it up today. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, let's start with the nation. Why Tinubu was elected by US-based observer mission. Mischief makers plotting interim government, says Defense Headquarters. No easy electoral victory again, Buhari tells politicians. Leadership crisis tears Labour Party apart. Obasanjo urges incoming government to begin healing and reconciliation. And pressure on me to go into self-exile, Obi alleges. Okay, let's start with the story about President Buhari was saying yesterday that the outcome of the just past presidential elections and the general elections shows that the era of easy route to power was gone for good. According to him, the loss of many governors at the polls shows the sophistication of voters. The president said that he was shocked by the way ordinary voters expressed themselves during the process, adding that the outcomes of the elections have changed the election landscape for good. He spoke while hosting the newly installed Emir of Dutse, Alhaji Muhammad Hamin Sanusi, at the State House in Abuja. He was saying that 10 governors failed to make it to the Senate before they feel it's automatic. 10 governors failed to make it into the Senate. He said there's no longer guaranteed route to power, that the voter is now truly the king when it comes to elections. He also said that Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle of the APC also lost his bid to retain his seat. The 7 incumbent governors also lost their bid to be the senators. And there was one more, he said 4 former governors also lost their bids to return to the Senate. So these are good wins for the last elections. And this is showing that the power is in the hands of Nigerian people. And people cannot automatically feel that they can get into the next position just because
now you have to work for it and prove yourself. Yeah. So former President Olusegun Obasanjo said the incoming administration of the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu must work to facilitate national healing and reconciliation. He said that there was divisiveness among Nigerians over the just concluded general elections. And this he said during the presentation of a book titled The Unending Quest for Reform, an intellectual memoir authored by Dr. Tunji Olokba yesterday in Abuja. And the event was put together by Next Year and the Ibadan School of Governance and Public Policy. And they had the theme from elections to governance and performance. So the former president went ahead to reiterate the need for public officers to think outside the box, to reform the public service and turn it into a capacity-ready unit and rescue the nation from the numerous challenges that we have. He said at his age, he's too old to keep quiet, and is urging the incoming administration to take appropriate steps to heal the nation's wound and assuage the fears of the citizens. So he said quite a lot, but at the end of the day, he said we need to work together as a country to make this work. And we also the government needs to give a conducive environment to enable our resources to begin to work for us. We know now that there's dwindling oil revenue coming in, so that must be paid attention to.
So an American diplomat and was one of the foreign observers of the 2023 election, February 25th presidential election. His name is Johnny Carson. He is the executive officer of the United States Institute of Peace. He's also, he was also the co-lead of the National Democratic Institute and the International Republic Institute. These institutes were the ones that were involved in the International Election Observation Mission. About 229 groups were accredited by INEC to observe the elections. Out of all those 229, we had 33 international and 196 national observers. What he said was he understood why Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the election. He said that there were 3 things. But the first thing he said was that he won because they had a formidable political party. They had access to resources for oiling his political machinery, and they had sufficient spade work on the grassroots level. And that with these 3 things, they were able to, he feels like they decisively won the election, and he sees no reason except for any major mischief why he won't be sworn in May 29th. And Alhaji Lai Mohammed used that to quickly engage the officials and condemned critics of the election, saying that it's not like they did not vote for other parties, but it was sufficient that the elections were won by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the Northwest, North Central, Southwest, and became second in the Northeast and Southeast and South-South.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing papers and we're moving on to the Punch. Interim government parties back military as defense headquarters ruptures plot says it's illegal. IG decorates newly promoted DIGs, AIGs and others. Boa Foods grow revenue to 418 billion naira. Whitney, Lagos places Chrisland School on probation. Killer headsman raid Benue community, kill policeman and 45 others. Sacked LP chair blames APC as police occupy secretariat. And reps probe alleged 20 billion naira diversion by the NNPCL officials. Okay, which story are we starting with?
46 persons reportedly killed on Wednesday as suspected armed headers unleashed a deadly attack at Umogidi community of Entekpa, Adoka district in Otukbo local government area of Benue State. They said the fresh attack came a day after suspected headers invaded the community and killed 3 persons on Tuesday. The people were still in mourning when they came back and killed the remaining 46. So he said on Monday, the Bobi community in the neighboring government were also attacked. 3 persons were killed. Then later, armed headers returned to the community on Wednesday after the burial of the 3 people killed and then killed the remaining people. So the special advisor to Governor Samuel Otom on security had to speak to journalists on the phone, and he described the incident as a very tragic and painful one. He confirmed the attack, said that they have so far just seen about 46 casualties, but there may be more, depending, because a lot of people are still reportedly missing. So the story, they gave other accounts of attacks in different areas of Benue State. Getting to a lot, said there was a church that was attacked by headers as well. A lot of Christian homes were attacked by headers. And they said not fewer than 60 people have been reportedly killed across the state. And so they expect the government to do more in terms of security. They've been hoping that the federal government will step in and help the states, but nothing so far. So they are crying out that Benue State right now needs a lot of help.
Okay, so the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadami, said that it is unconstitutional calls for an interim government after the emergence of a president-elect. He was saying some candidates who lost the election and their supporters had been agitating for interim governments, hinging their demand on the reported malpractices recorded during the presidential elections, which was won by the APC candidate. He said, specifically speaking to the newsman, said that on the issue of interim government, it is rather unfortunate. An election has been conducted, INEC has declared a winner, and which is mandated to do. It is not our responsibility, therefore, to speak on that issue, but I know that several calls have been made concerning the presidency, concerning the interim government, and it is clear that it is unconstitutional. PDP, APC also agree. PDP said specifically that they agree with the military that international government is unconstitutional, and that the PDP are a law-abiding party, and they will have nothing to do with such a plan. The LP, on the other hand, spokesperson Mr. Tayo Bassi urged the military to stick to its defense job, and instead of striving to interpret the Constitution, that it's not their job to interpret the Constitution, that the courts are there to do so, that the military should focus on defense and not worry about what the Constitution says concerning interim government or not.
Let me take the story about NNPCL. So the House Committee on Thursday set up an investigative panel to look into the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited over alleged diversion of about 20 billion naira. This money was sent to be paid to consultants, they said in guise. So like the Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Banking Currency, Afis Kawu, moved the motion because he felt like there's corruption, alleged corruption within that space, that there's an urgent need to investigate the staff of NNPCL that were involved in that conversion and in paying for consultancy. The NNPCL has denied the allegation on Monday before then, but they say they would constitute a committee to look into it. The Speaker of the House has already consequently set up the panel to look into NNPCL. Said the money would have been better served to spend serving the people, but they feel like there is a 20 billion naira lost in the conversion under the guise of paying for consultants. So we're waiting to see how that pans out.
Daily Sun, bloody day in Lagos, Edo, Benue, others. Ohaneze to petition Buhari National Assembly over profiling of Igbo in Lagos. Military rejects interim government dream. Troops eliminate 53 terrorists, rescue 118 victims, destroy 50 illegal refining sites in Niger Delta. We supported Southern Presidency for unity of Nigeria, says Wiki and El Rufai. Obasanjo recommends national reconciliation. And help reps halt 14 billion naira NDDC flood control expenditure. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let me take the highlight of what our troops have been doing recently. So the Defense Headquarters said troops of the armed forces have eliminated 53 terrorists and other criminals in various operations in the Northeast, North Central, and Northwest in the last 2 weeks. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damandami, said this yesterday in Abuja at a conference, and he said that they apprehended about 59 terrorists and kidnappers, as well as their collaborators, while 118 abducted victims across the theaters of operation were rescued within that period. I said in the Northeast, troops of Operation Hadin Kai has sustained offense operation against the Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP terrorists, and it led to a killing of 29 terrorists and the capture of 20 others, while 54 victims who escaped from the terrorists were rescued by the troops. He also added that a total of 974 terrorists, comprising 77 adult males, 364 adult females, and 553 children surrendered to troops at different locations within that period. They were able to recover a lot of ammunition and I think 2.3 million naira cash from these people. So this is something good that our troops are doing, and we wish them all the best.
It's that we continue to take the stories of the Nigerian army
show what
so that they're actually making effort. All right, Governor Wike of Rivers State invited, guess who? Governor El Rufai to his state to come and commission the, let me name the road, the Eneka Igbo Eche Link Road yesterday. And he came and he said that he was not referencing the fact that the South, that the government, the voters voted for a Southern president this time around. He was saying that he said it was natural justice that the presidency moved to the South since the incumbent is from the North. He said, Governor Wike also said that El Rufai specifically, he said you, El Rufai, would have as well combined, coming from the North, from that zone, use your numerical strength to oppress the rest of the country and thwart the quest of the Southern presidency, but they didn't do that. So he was saying that history will be fair to El Rufai and others who stood and insisted that presidency must come down south this time around. So it was, I mean, I'm happy he's still commissioning roads, but
I was surprised. I thought it was a pre-election gimmick. So apparently there's still
plenty of roads though.
Commission.
Let's finish.
I want to take the story, the major headline. It's a sad story, not a smiling story. Really sad, 72 hours before Easter celebration, about 52 people, including 3 police officers and scores of others were killed. 52 people killed, including 3 police officers, scores injured across Lagos, Edo, Benue. Specifically in Edo State, gunmen yesterday killed 3 policemen. They killed them. These policemen were returning to their duties when the attack happened. It was along the Igara-Auchi Road, Edo State. There was exchange of gunshot, but they were able to kill one of the assailants, though 3 police officers lost their lives, and they were able to get about 6 rifles were recovered from them. A few of them sustained injuries from gunshot injuries, and they've been taken to an undisclosed hospital for treatment. Daily Sun also gathered that there were attacks that took place from, they detailed more of the attack that took place in Edo State. But in Benue, in Okene, they recovered 4 police rifles, an additional 2 in the area. They found suspects who were seen to have caused the bloody marking on the ground. So they trailed the bloody marking on the ground because they got information, which for me, I wanted to tell the story because it highlights the part of us as citizens helping the police. What happened was somebody called the Bukun, called the police officers to let them know that he saw blood trail into a particular area, and the police trailed that blood, and they were able to discover that was a hideout, found police rifles, recovered 2 belongings of the attackers. We're just happy that, it's sad that we're losing lives, but we're happy there seemed to be a sort of equal attack from the police as well.
Vanguard, Labour, NECA, NYCN reject subsidy removal and palliatives. 2023 polls show of shame, says Obasanjo. Why high out-of-school children rate persists, says Buhari's aide. Interim government unconstitutional, says military. Flight cancellations loom as FAN denies oil marketers access to airports. Troops neutralize 48 terrorists, rescue 118 kidnapped victims. Whitney Adeniran, why Christian school is on 1-year probation, says Lagos State government. Peter Obi has no plan to leave Nigeria despite pressure, says LPPCC. And Labour Party's crisis worsens as faction invades National Secretariat. Let me start with the story concerning subsidy, which is something I'm really, really passionate about.
We know.
So the NLC, that's the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC, the Trade Union Congress, and
Have they started again?
and also another group now, the Northern Youth Council of Nigeria, NYCN, have all said that government should not even try to remove subsidy without ensuring that local production or no local refinery, like ensure that local refining is done. And that $800 million facility or fund they just gotten as palliative to cushion the effect of the subsidy. They don't know about that one. No. Our own focus is that you must not remove subsidy without ensuring local production.
But that money,
that money shouldn't be shared.
No, wait first.
They've not said that. They just said palliative.
That's my own.
Wait. But can't they deploy? In fact, they couldn't. Can they deploy the money to build a refinery?
They can. Because I feel like, honestly, Morayo, I know it's not a hot topic, but I feel that money, instead of paying
the bank facility,
they're paying it in 10,000 naira. We took the story earlier in the week.
10,000 won't do anything.
10,000 naira to different people as a direct cash credit into their account. While we can use that money to support private people that have license for modular refinery to put their modular refinery in different areas of the country, and we have local production fast.
Immediately.
And they'll recover that money back because it's a private business. Then we can then deregulate because we have enough local production.
But you cannot produce, you cannot have modular refineries overnight.
Yeah.
It's something that takes time.
We do this thing for 18 months. So they had planned this removal of subsidy for 18 months. They had planned.
But they just got the money now.
10,000 naira for 18 months.
But they just got the money.
I want them to. They deliberately left it to the new administration.
It's in June they plan, and the president-elect has said specifically that we cannot continue subsidy.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Really doesn't.
Hey, where we get to 1,000 per liter?
Say 700. Calm down.
Hey, 700.
Let's go on a break. Friday, calm down. It's not Monday.
It's good Friday. It's not even regular Friday. This is Good Friday.
We'll go on a break. When we come back,
let's go.
Talk about what's going on.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
So today's hot topic is a very serious matter. It's a story that happened in Lagos. A woman by the name of Anita Ofili was arrested by the police for allegedly killing Glory Okon in her apartment at Greenville Estate, Ajah area of Lagos State. She disclosed that she had to take a 10-year revenge on her friend who took her boyfriend at the time. And now this raises the question of friendship, forgiveness, and bitterness. So we always have situations where people do things to us and we think that time will heal. You know, time heals all things, they tell us. But this person, unfortunately, 10 years was not enough time for her to heal because she and the person were apart for the 10 years where she was hurt. But then in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they reconnected and they became friends again. Unfortunately, Glory was thinking, oh, my long-lost friend is back, and got close to Miss Ofili. Unfortunately, that led to her death. Our conversation, therefore, is, do we trust friendships? How do we manage friendships that have gone sour? How do we keep people at arm's length but yet still be civil? How do we, yes, you and I are not friends, but are there ways we can still have the civility, or can I control people's behavior towards me? That's a conversation on friendship that's gone sour. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-270-53687, 0913907694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. BC, you want to start?
Hey.
On this matter of friendship.
I honestly don't know what to say.
It's a painful story. This woman died after 10 years.
Yes, after 10 years. So I'm sure in her mind, she would have thought that she's forgiven me. We've moved on.
Yes.
We've reconciled, you know, everything is all good. But like they always say, the heart is not open to direct apprehension by the observer. Even the scripture says, the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? This is just an example of, it's not everything you see that is the way it is. Most things are not exactly how it seems. And this is one thing I know that makes people say, you see, I don't have power for friendships because I can't tell at what point you will turn against me. And people try to put up walls to sort of protect themselves. What I would say here is, when you have a friend and the person is truly your friend, there are some things you shouldn't be caught doing to that person, like taking the person's boyfriend or husband, or going behind. Listen now.
Why is that such a bad crime?
Because you are a friend to that person. A friend means that we share interests, we fight for each other, we are loyal to each other. Even if, you know, I personally believe that if someone has come here to say, ask Tope out, and Tope says no, or they had a relationship and then the relationship doesn't work, and the person comes to me, personally, my own girlfriend code, I will not accept the person. Because I feel, no, even if Tope has moved on, she may still have some feelings about, so you went ahead with this person. And for the friendship that I have with her, I will not accept this person. It's my own girl code, yeah, which sort of protects me and the sort of friendship that I want to have. But I know this what they'll say, find your happiness, whatever makes you happy, blah, 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 at the detriment of another person. That's one side. Then the second side, no matter what somebody does to you, do you have to go down that revenge for 10 years? So it's a deep-rooted sickness that you need to deal with, to take your time and plan revenge for that long. You are gone. Like, you know, when they say you have sold your soul to the devil, it's deep. And this person who killed this friend may not even recover from what she has done. It's a very deep thing that we may take time to start breaking down the layers.
Let me come to you, Tope. I mean, I have actually experienced this before, where a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, is married to somebody that I had dated. And it was just maybe one date or so, I think. It was 1 or 2 days.
That's not dating.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. That was not date. That's a date. You go on a date, that's a date.
No. One day.
Was a
proper relationship.
I'm just saying, using the example that you said, that because somebody asked somebody out, I will now go there again. So the person, that's you. I'm just saying that I had a situation whereby I went on a date. I already, from my first date, it's not happening. I already knew it's not happening. So when he tried to talk to my friend, she now asked me, Mariah, I know you guys went on a date. I'm like,
she asked you, right?
She didn't even ask me. I think I saw her. I don't know if I can't remember. It's been a while. But the point is that I saw it, and they're married, and it didn't even, like, nothing changed because I wasn't feeling it.
So this situation is abnormal. It's not normal.
It's not.
People shouldn't have to nurse grievance for 10 years. It shows, like BC would say, deep trauma.
Serious one.
Deep trauma. But you know that love and hate, like they're like two sides of
thin line.
The same coin. So one side, there's strong love. The other side, like, they can be strong hate. And it's important as human beings for us to find balance. Like, I don't need to be strongly in love with you, and I don't need to totally hate you. I can just be neutral towards you. But when we look at what friendship truly means, it's an affection. It is born out of affection and trust. So I don't believe I'm afraid I share BC's opinion in terms of how You cannot ask me out after asking my friend out. You don't see me before you see my friend.
Exactly.
It's a pride thing.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ask me out after you have asked my friend?
After they've told you no.
So that means I was second option or second choice as I'm big rich like this. So I would not have done that. Whether it's arrogance, whether it's pride, put it to one side. Then if you have not had a relationship with my friend, girl code, I will
never.
I will not even get close to you because I just feel like you've already been with my friend. Go and cast your seeds or something farther from our community, you know, because I respect my friendship and relationship. And
what if God wanted you to? God wanted him to
let's not put this God and faith inside the matter. Every
I'm saying now,
God has given us free will.
God will not send him to my friend.
God can send that person through you.
Yes.
Because your friend that God really says this is the person she's supposed to marry. But it was you that came through you first.
The only corollary to that rule is in the case of death. Maybe a friend died and like a very, very good friend steps into that space and takes care of the children and marries the husband, but it's like the relation, that person, that your friend is gone and your presence would help to secure the children your friend left
They know
behind.
you already.
That's the only scenario I can accept it. But let's go to this case. A human being nursed grievance for 10 years, grudge, and then connived our way back into friendship to kill this person. That woman is not normal. That woman
let me pause you for a second. Let's start from, before we go to the part of killing. The question is, if there's somebody you had a grudge or some kind of difficulty with many years ago, should you become friends with that person? If that person comes back a few years after, should we say it's scary or maybe it's wrong, or what's what I'm looking for? You should be tread cautiously before you start a relationship with this person, or should you actually have an open mind? Say, okay, she has come back. Should I accept her 100%? Because that is what this person happened. She opened arms to take this person back.
Yeah.
Big defense like this.
No. So the thing is, it depends on the
circumstances. Or?
No. The gravity of the offense you committed against your friend, or the betrayal you committed against your friend. There are people that find forgiving simple things easier than things that they hold dear. So if, for instance, you snatch my husband, hold my husband that you know that I hold dear, and after a few years we reconnect and you want to just come back, you know, with open arms and all that, you'll be doing yourself a disservice and you will not be protecting yourself, because you really don't know how I have healed. You really don't know all the things I have gone through my mind at the time. And the fact that you come back means that you will still be flaunting this, my former guy, in my face. And that could begin to unearth a lot of things that I had tried to bottle. So the gravity of the offense determines if you're going to open your arms. If you know that you have really goofed in this matter, and then you have an opportunity to reconcile, it's best for you, for your interest, and the interest of the other person, to keep the relationship at arm's length. You don't come close to each other. You don't share food on the same table with each other. If you're sitting at a party and the person is sitting beside you, you leave your food and go and dance. When you come back, you're not expected to touch it. You must, for the sake of the person who you are definitely going to be flaunting the new life you stole from her, you must protect her from, you know, further going down that road again and remembering all the memories she's lost, and protect yourself. That's what I would advise. But if it's something, I insult you,
let's not even do this.
I insult you,
you do this. Let's not even do relationship. Talk about business. Let's talk about betrayal. You betray me. I have a business transaction. I opened up my business to you. You saw a big deal I want to do, and you went behind the scene and took the deal. You betrayed my trust. You never, I would, like, before, I'm very, very forgiving. BC has taught me about boundaries.
Yes.
And understanding that we don't need to be, I'm too, up until like late last year, safe, when I collected lesson from my coach, I would always feel like, forgive and move on. Everybody could change. I inherently believe that human beings can change.
Yeah,
you might have betrayed me and you totally repent and become a different person. Be different with other friends. Yes, you have changed. I've forgiven. I will always forgive. I'll always preach forgiveness. But bringing you back into my life and exposing you to myself in that level, it would take a whole lot. It would take that we've had really long-term history together, that I know that this, your betrayal was just maybe greed, 1 minute greed. I can overlook it, but it would mean that we have long-term history for me to forgive. I will forgive and expect that we would keep our boundaries, the friendship from afar.
Yeah, better.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we take a few comments on social. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're talking about this friendship issue where people try to reconcile with their old friends. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I've heard stories where friends who you've not spoken to for 20 years, something bad happened, you come together, you are able to iron it out. Now, a lot of times we find here that we don't find closure. So when there's an issue, people just think, oh, because she's back, we can be friends, everything, just sweep it under the carpet. Maybe it's time for us to encourage each other to start talking about problems. Don't assume things are over. Let's begin to reconcile, because many people just feel like, I beg, it was 10 years ago.
Moved on.
So should we say time really heals? Or we're saying time doesn't really heal until you have a conversation on the matter?
So it depends on what closure you're looking for. There are some people that you may never get that closure. They're not wired that way to have that conversation with you. And when they move on, they move on. And you must recognize that this relationship has come to an end. There's no need over flogging a dead horse. If it's time for us to move on, there are people in your life who come for a reason and a season. The problem is we try to carry everybody along for all seasons. Some people are not wired to go the long haul with you. Some people are there to just push you and stop halfway. You must use your intuition to recognize which relationship is wired to go with you all the way. There are some friendships that you even outgrow. As you are moving up in your career and all that, you see that they are beginning to drop off, and then you are trying so much to, pull them to your side because you want to be a good friend. You are carrying on dead weight. We must know when to lose the dead weight. So in this scenario that you just painted, it's very important that we begin to have deep conversations. I have a friend that the slightest goof I goof, we will sit down, we have lunch, then we will break it down. This is how you said it, I did not like it. This is how you said it, I did not like it. This is how you did it, I did not like it. At the end of the day, we realize that it's just misinterpretation of the information, and we are clear, we hug, it's a freeing conversation, because I know that I can be myself. If I goof, she'll call me out. If she goofs, I will call her out. Those are the sort of friendships that we need to have, and it starts building that trust and connection. And in that kind of relationship, it's difficult to take another person's boyfriend or go behind and do something to another person's business, because you people are open, you are vulnerable to each other. So if anything is coming from the outside, maybe, sometimes somebody wants to come and poach you. Let's take, for instance, talk about selling land, and somebody comes to meet me and say, oh yeah, I know the place she gets the best deals for her land. I want you to get into this business. I will connect you to her people and all of that. Because of the relationship that I have with her, I will call her and tell her, this and this is what this person told me. Do you know this person? And all of that. Because you have started with openness in that relationship. So where your relationship, and ask yourself, how open am I to this person? Can I take feedback? Can I give feedback? Can we resolve our differences without harboring it in for a long time? And is it okay to let this person go now? Has this person outlived their purpose in my life? We must know when to exit.
Let me also add to that story. This happened to me really recently. I've always done real estate. I don't do agriculture. My friends do agriculture. And
let me pause you for a second.
Okay.
Bumi's been holding for a while. Good morning, Bumi. I'm sorry. Keeping you. Bumi, you're live. It's a bit low. I can't hear you. Hello, Bumi.
Is she talking?
I can hear her talk, but it's pretty low. I can't hear you.
It's low.
Go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in first-time caller.
Welcome.
And thank you so much for all the things that you are doing. I really appreciate that. This topic, I'm a first-time caller from Ibadan. And what I want to say is this, and that is, you meet your friend after 10 years. The first thing that you have to be very, very careful, because you don't even know where he or she is coming from. And it also boils down to the issue of secondary school mates, primary school mates, university. You don't even know. You talk maybe, I knew her before, I knew him before for a long time. How much more involving in this kind of what happened, snatching your husband, and eventually 10 years, you felt, no problem, maybe she's back. Myself and my husband used to say this. You have to be very careful when you meet your old-time friend. I've met friends that are 30 years. We come back together. I just watch. I realize, oh, no, the person has not changed. So I feel that maybe the thing is that we have to be very careful anytime we meet our old-time person. Anytime. Not even the issue of snatching of husband or wife or whatever, but we have to be very, very careful. And I think I buy to the idea of both Chope and BC this morning. And
thank you.
I pray that God will just deliver us from all this kind of evil. Thank you so much.
I think the prayer should be God should give us wisdom, because I'm a very, very open book. I like is the over-openness of over-sharing that puts me into trouble in most cases. And I feel like if I'm in a community, I feel I don't have secret. Like, I have a friend, like, well, 3 of us. Yeah, Mr. cannot tell me something and say, I should not tell Olamide. Don't even tell me. It's because I will say it. Within the 3 of us, there is no inner caucus secrets that I expect should exist. I've always done real estate as per, at least for the past 2 years, I've done land. But I now wanted to do agriculture. It was going to be yam, but I still called my friends to say, babes, I'm going to be doing agriculture. I'm planting yams. This is why I'm doing it. So that it's not like this person is encroaching into our zone. I know they will not think that way, but it's just appropriate for trust that they will not see a flyer outside. And even the flyer was ready. Before post, I just said, I've not informed these people. So that it will not be a social media flyer that will now inform them that I'm now doing something within a Greek space. I told them ahead. It's about respect. It's about wisdom. It's about the fact that if you value this friendship, you will respect the people. You will honor them. You would, and if there are issues, like BC said, I don't deal with issues the way she and her friend breaks down issues. I just feel like I would excuse, my own template is, I will create a narrative, a story around the issue, giving them benefit of the doubt so that I have peace within myself and let them go.
As we wrap up on this conversation, the part I want us to clarify. So are we saying, because I mean, what I would like to put out there is that, does time really heal? Because where, for example, you have a situation whereby maybe you and your mother abandoned you for years, and now you're grown up, you have your own family, and all the negative energy you grew up with, yes, affected you somewhat, but you're able to just scale through and then have a good family. And people just say, just forgive and move on. I say, yeah, okay, at least you're fine. And you're like, well, I'm still hurt. So do we still have to engage to clear issues, or does time really heal where you just have to move on?
I don't think time heals. Was something they would say because over time you begin to just forget and make light of the situation. Over time, you are now seeing from hindsight, and you're now seeing the blessings from all those struggles. But it doesn't mean that it has healed the pain and the trauma you got from that interaction. So time doesn't really heal. Time only sort of, covers it up. Yes. So for you to have that connection again, there are conversations you must have. You must bring up the conversation. So I usually use myself as an example. The first time, I finally met my mom, and she came, and we didn't have conversations. We just moved on. But as I was growing older, I realized that some of the hurts were still being unearthed. From every interaction, I was still going back to the trauma. I didn't even know. In my head, I'm like, okay, we've moved on, everything is good. But I know that in my reactions, some things will come out. And when I think deep, I'm still hurting. Till we finally had a proper conversation. And I initiated that conversation because I needed to outrightly heal all of the wounds. So sometimes when we say, let's move on, you are sweeping it under the carpet. It will come back tomorrow to haunt you if you do not break down the situation.
So someone like that girl that died, at some point, yes, maybe you ended up with this person. Yeah. At some point, you need to call that girl. Let's have a conversation about it.
Do you even know that if you had x-rayed that conversation, you may have found out that she really did not even snatch this guy. It's very possible that the guy saw her first, like her, but she didn't answer and went to this person and finally came back. You don't know till you have a conversation. And when you have that conversation, you will now see from that person's perspective why they did what they did. Conversation is very important.
Call. Ochuko, thanks for calling from Warri. You're live. Good morning, Ochuko. Are you there?
I'm still here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning, madam. Go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
We have a lot of you today.
I'm like one of your greatest fans. I love your view. I love your show. I love your ideas. I love the fact that you are all women impacting our generation. I just want to say big kudos, big thumbs up to all of you. On the program, on the issue right now, I believe relationships are for times and seasons. Sometimes we carry them over beyond their
tenure,
their season, beyond their time, beyond their relevance. And when we do that, it brings problems. Where a relationship has done its required or is a necessary impact and has expired, we should move on. It's good to say, I've forgiven this person, but we are human beings. The hurt may still be there. You think it has gone. Okay, 10 years ago, it's been so long, she has forgotten about it, I've forgiven her, she has forgiven me, let's carry on as before. It doesn't always work that way. Right. We are still in the flesh, we are human beings. The devil can come into anybody at any time and use you to do whatever it wants. So because of that, we have to be careful. Right. If this person has forgiven you, this person wants to reenact the old relationship, be careful.
Right. Thank you very much, Ochuko.
Yes,
thank you so much. So I think we're going to wrap up. And I think the points I was trying to get out of this conversation is that no matter what happens, there's still your business, there's still your family, there's still your children, there's still your love, whatever it is that somebody has done to hurt you. And even though you've moved on, it's always good to go back to that matter and have a conversation.
Yeah, proper conversation.
Thrash it once and for all, because if you don't, the bitterness grows.
Yeah.
And anybody can, this one killed, and that one can do something to destroy your business in future.
Yes.
Can have an opportunity. Oh, is it that girl? My uncle is the person that she's trying to go and see. Go there and spoil the opportunity for you. So there are different things you can do. But it's always important to thrash it, ask for forgiveness, make sure you've cleared the air, because when you do that, no matter where you meet that person in future, at least you know that you're civil.
Yeah.
That's what I've always tried to do when I had relationships in the past where things go awry. I actually make extra effort.
You do.
I know.
I know that.
To try to see the person, to have a conversation, to tell them why I did it, hear their own part, and apologize.
I always feel like it's not necessary, but
I'm
I'm learning
necessary.
that it's important.
Keep your hands clean. It's very necessary.
No matter what happens in future, at least you know that there's a civilized relationship between you. That's all we can take on that topic. When we come back, there's another interesting topic that came our way. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So see who Lagos traffic threw in.
Abio. Mariam in the building.
What happened? You're late.
Man,
Today's traffic was
it
different.
was crazy, but you know how it is for me. I just feel that, God had it, was meant to happen, because there's no way I'll be going through that traffic and then stressing over it. No way. I said I wasn't going to do that to myself. So I just calmed down and I got here at 10 a.m.
Wow.
From 7 to 10.
Wow.
Thank you, Lagos traffic.
All right, we have another topic to discuss because you came in right on time for our second topic. So we saw this message, which I thought was quite interesting. It says, let me read it to you verbatim. Let me repeat this. Don't marry a woman who is addicted to seeing prophets. She will destroy your life. She will be afraid. She will suspect everyone. Your mother will be a witch. There will be someone after you. The prophet to control your marriage. Marry someone with a personal relationship with God. Now, everybody will say, oh, I agree. But the truth is that there are people who have been guided by prophets, positively guided. That things could have happened bad for them. But they had guidance. And we've shared many of these testimonies where it was the prophet that said I should do this. Where I did 7 days this, I did. And after that, things turned around. So these are real stories. But when you hear this kind of person saying, be wary of somebody who is always saying, my prophet said, that you shouldn't marry that kind of person, is that a good advice or is just too judgmental? Right, let me start with this.
Yes, for me, already the premise of this statement is faulty. The woman that is into prophets. So first of all, I feel that anyone should be the conversation, anybody. And then secondly, exactly what do these prophets do? So we're going on the conversation that these prophets are not God, they're not for God, because if we change it from prophet to pastor, would it make a difference? So for me, it just seems a bit faulty. But let's just go that the person that made that statement assumes that prophets will cause some sort of problems. I feel that it's important that for a mature person, mentally as well as spiritually, should be the sort of people that get into a relationship or marriage, with another person. That means the person is confident and of independent thought. That the person has common sense. That the person, even when they seek spiritual or any kind of help, they're able to compare, they're able to still sift it through their own common sense to know how it affects them and how it affects those that they're in a relationship with or those that they love. The reason why in the beginning I was saying it could be anyone, because I've heard men who have said, since she came into my life, her star has been dimming my star and things like that. So for me, anybody that puts any blame outside of themselves for things that they do, that person can be a problematic person to deal with. So it's best to be with someone that understands, that are willing to own up to whatever they do, good or bad.
We've heard stories where people say that, and this is not a bad thing. I don't want us to just have a negative connotation to this, because we're not trying to say that prophets are bad. There are some good prophets, because the Bible does say you would have prophets. So there are prophets who are good, and of course, there are some who have bastardized the prophethood. But the point is that, can prophets sometimes be overbearing on relationships to the point where people are already feeling that once you have a relationship with the prophet, I don't want to get in this relationship at all? Is that a bad thing to have a relationship with your prophet?
I think it's not the caption prophets. It's just too, would I say secluded now? It's just too confined.
Or too broad.
Oh, no, not too broad. It's confined to a particular sect, right? I want to expand it. Okay. So anyone who has an addiction to listening to the words of or the instructions of pastors, imams, prophets, religious leaders, however, soothsayers, even native doctors, all of them did the same category, right? Anyone who has an addiction to taking their word over their own personal convictions, over their family's personal convictions, is where the problem is. Because I have seen people whose lives have been ruined because they waited for the prophet or the pastor to give a go-ahead for something they really wanted to do. I've seen people who have lost their jobs or who were supposed to take up better jobs, better promotion, and then the prophet says, don't do it, don't go there. They're looking for your head, this, that. Take 7 hours prayer, do this, do that. And they've come back to regret that decision. So anyone who cannot hold your own, there's a reason why the temple was torn after Jesus resurrected, was torn from bottom to top after Jesus resurrected, to give you access directly to the divine, right? You are the divine. You can get your connection. So it's okay to, talk to leaders, people who you think they've gone farther than you, hear, they help you break down the word, you hear and all that. But if I have to suspend my life because I'm waiting for an authority in that sect to tell me the next step to take, that's where the problem is. And it can ruin you. You will spend money paying one thing, one or the other, sowing seeds up and down. I've seen people have sown seed. You collected your loan from bank to do business. You carry the loan, or denier or de. You carry loan to go and sow a seed. And then you're shining your eye. I've seen people who will do first fruit, and then they are begging for the rest of January. Those kind of life-altering things that on a normal day, hold on now. Say I did this industry. On a normal industry. Let me finish what I'm saying, Mariah. On a normal day, you are supposed to listen to your internal guidance, listen to the Holy Spirit and know the next steps to take. And you can just seek confirmation here and there. But to suspend that life, that's where the problem is.
Okay, just so that I can contradict this a bit, because Mariah, then I was Mariah Kabasharu.
Okay.
I sold my very, very first salary after I was down and out for almost 2 years. My very, very first salary. I went for a Good Ultimate Search reality show I was on the crew for 3 months. After working 3 months, Mr. What's his name again? gave me a check. That's your pay. And that entire pay, I gave it to God.
Okay.
And
So?
God used that, and I believe.
You did it yourself?
I did it myself.
No one told you?
I mean, no, of course, nobody told me.
that
But I've learned lessons over the years from prophets, from the word of God, of what the power of sowing. So I sowed.
Okay, then what happened when you sowed?
A lot of things have happened. God opened doors and everything.
But you
So
did.
that's one.
From-
First fruit
That's
is
not
also
complete.
extremely important.
Okay.
So-
Do
so-
you know?
so-
Let me
for
tell
me,
you.
so-
Let me tell you.
so
Do you know?
So let's not debate that. I'm just
Do
saying,
you know?
people have different differences.
Yes.
I believe in first
For you.
Wait,
for
now,
me.
Shebina, you
Eh,
ask
eh,
me
now
question
you
now.
come
I can't give you my own opinion. You can't dey fight my opinion.
No, I didn't tell you.
So she just stated her own is contrary to your own.
Only your matter did, like only your whatever. Like
They're different.
Okay.
opinions.
So let me permit me to step in here to say that counsel is good.
Yes.
Counsel is important, but counsel is subject to you listening to your inner man. And where the problem is when a man or a woman do not have enough connection with their inner man and ability, and they don't have enough belief in themselves to reason, that they take counsel without thinking. So somebody can tell you, eat snake, and you will eat it without thinking. Somebody will tell you, eat grass right from the ground, and you will take that counsel without eating, without thinking. That means you have suspended your individual God-given ability to reason, because someone claims to have a direct relationship with the divine. Because a prophet is anybody that claims to have a direct relationship to the divine. They can speak on behalf of that person. So there are prophets in the Islamic, and there are prophets in the Christian, and in the Christendom, there are prophets in the traditional way. Anybody that says, I speak to Ahmad Yoha, is a prophet of Ahmad Yoha.
Yes.
I speak to God, a prophet of God. So when I engage a prophet, it is to hear a counsel, to confirm what God has told me, not to be informed. What many people do in religious setting is they get information about their life from someone who is a third party that has no idea of what you're doing. That person should be confirming what God has told you. If the person is not confirming, it means you had no idea and you have not heard from God. That means you don't have a relationship with God, you are not connected to your inner man, and you are not even, your first journey as such a person is to first go and know yourself and know your God by yourself. Every time a pastor preaches or a prophet gives a word, it should come to you as a confirmation. You should have felt it in your spirit, heard it in a scripture. It's a reaffirmation of what God has inspired you on in that direction already. But we have a lot of people who refuse to think, who refuse to pray for themselves, who refuse to have independent relationship with God, and subject, or what do they call it? They abdicate their spiritual life to seeking a prophet to help them fast. Prophet, help me pray. Prophet, help me go to the mountain. Prophet, help me to, I want a child. Prophet, what is God saying? Why can you not ask God? He has, in new Christendom, you have as much access.
So, but that's spiritual laziness.
Spiritual laziness.
But there's a part of the Bible, BC, that says that God uses the foolishness of man to confound the wise. So sometimes confound the wise. So there's sometimes that things might seem foolish. Oh, I'm not saying it's good to eat grass. I'm not saying it's good to eat snake. I'm just saying something might look really silly to you.
Yeah.
But you don't have the spiritual,
in the river.
You don't have the spiritual opening to understand where it is leading to. So is it for us to begin to judge what we don't understand?
Why don't you have the spiritual understanding for what you want to do? That means it's not your level. So stay where your spiritual understanding keeps you. In the scriptures, they start with milk. There are the word of God, when you just give your life to Christ and everything, they start teaching you is milk, something very soft. You know, have faith as little as that of a mustard seed, do this, do that. Then it graduates to meat. The words get deeper. The Holy Spirit is exposing bigger words for you, bigger understanding, bigger inspiration for you. Then it graduates to bones. So you must stay at your level. The problem is we don't like any form of hardship in this life. And unfortunately for us, all of us, we must go through hardship, because that is why we are here. That is what we are here to learn. This earthly experience is laden with difficulties and challenges, and when you pass one, you graduate to the next level. You pass another, you graduate to the next level. So we must be ready. even if you have found your purpose, maybe God told you at the age of 4 that this is what you're supposed to do. In that purpose, you will have trials and tribulations. You will have challenges. But we don't want it. We want the easy way out. So quickly tell me which candles I'm going to burn so that I will have it now. Instant gratification. Yeah. And anyone who is ready to pick up their cross and follow Christ must be ready to work.
Mariam, let me come to you. Let me come to you and this angle because we've discussed, we laid the foundation. And let's talk about the spouse who is constantly, every decision they want to make, they have to go to the they need confirmation because that's what this conversation is about. We cannot judge anybody based on how close you get to your imam, your alpha or anything. We can't judge you. That's your. But when every decision in the home must be vetted by the prophet, that's where the issue is. How can we? Should there be a balance, or should there be no consultation with them? Can we balance it where you can still call the prophet for some things, or should we know how to choose them? How do we pick and choose what to share with the prophet?
There has to be a balance. I mean, it's not even about making that person a prophet. We always talk about this, that when there's more than the spouses involved in a marriage, when there's a mother-in-law, a father-in-law, or a friend or an ex that just seems to be as important as your spouse in the marriage, it causes problems. And if the only person, you know, as for Christians, they'll say to you is that the only third person that should be in your marriage is God. And that's with belief that you both are of the same faith and you understand that, you know, and you agree that both of you always go to God for him to, you know, answer you, help you, guide you. But when there's another human person, I feel that that's just like a room for a lot of problems. Especially if it means that one person has more access to the person, or you have different access types, or, you know, with that person, the other person feels left out, or is wondering, who am I really dealing with here? Am I dealing with you, my wife? Am I dealing with you, my husband? Am I dealing with the voice in church or in the mosque or, you know, wherever it is that you see this person? Even for therapy. So even if we took it away from church or, you know, religion and say a therapist, people also, eventually, during therapy, they'll say, bring the other person. So it's not like we're talking to you and you're handling this yourself. The other person has to be involved in what you're going through. So if you have both agreed that this is the person that you want to speak to, that this is the person that you would like to go to with your issues, both of you, it's still important that it's balanced, that it's still important that you understand, okay, how far can we go? And then if push comes to shove, whose voice should take precedence? Should it be that after we've spoken to the pastor, I agree, you don't agree, can we go back home now and decide between the two of us based on what we have heard from these people that are supposed to guide us? But in the end, between you and I, that final decision is the decision that we take. As long as you work together, you know, and you decide that this is your formula, then do that, but also make sure that it's balanced.
All right, Tokwe, we can't deny the fact that there have been prophets that say, this person is a witch. This person is somebody that is stopping you from getting pregnant. This person is the person that, you know, there's generation, but in Africa, let us not act as if everybody is so, we are all very, very modern and enlightened. These things happen. Nollywood would even reference it, where people are constantly saying, is that woman who was living in your village, or that woman that your landlord. She has put something in your house that will not let you have children. You know, these are things. And it's until you break that thing. So that is where prophets are important, where they can see what you cannot see. And that's why people go to them, because they feel that there's a reason why I can't get pregnant. There's a reason why my husband keeps losing his job. There's a reason, and it's got to be some spiritual, spiritual influence that is causing it. But laughing is the truth. That many people, because of that, engage prophets 24/7. Every small decision, every single day, they are constantly consulting to be sure that the demonic forces are not stopping them again.
Why not?
I'm sorry.
I get you. It's not and yes, it's very similar to what we see in movies.
Yes.
And I'm wondering how. I'm wondering how.
You guys laughing? I'm sorry.
But yeah, I'm wondering how deep I should go in answering this.
Very deep.
Because on the surface level, it's that anybody who lives their life seeking permission to live is living in fear, and that's not a life. You know, I want to get into my office, I have to first go call my pastor. I'm resuming in that office today. Let me sprinkle holy water on the door. You are living in fear. What are you scared of? You know, what karma have you sent into the world that you are scared will come back to you. Because really, cause cannot come without a cause.
Yes,
You
no
must have done
causeless
something
cause
to make
shall
that thing
stand.
happen to you. So in most cases, we are not deep enough to think that for you to say, for somebody to sit down somewhere in the village and put a word down that would limit a person's life, there must have been a commitment in your line that has allowed that to come to pass over your life. So it is a personal journey that we are not willing to take. And some people might need a prophet to highlight it to them because they are not self-aware enough or they have not taken that journey in enough to see it. So they would, when they go through that and they realize, I've sown some seed, my parents must have sown some seed. You deliberately now, when you, as a Christian, there's a Christian perspective and there is a universal principle, law of the universe perspective. But both of them highlight one thing. At the moment when you realize and you deliberately send forth a prayer or this energy or this word into the universe that you have released, you have forgiven, you have disconnected yourself from everything that has been done in your past to tie you to some spiritual, what do you call it, curse. You have released it. Do not now come back to start living in that fear. If there is, and there are some cases where there is need for restitution. That's why I was asking, how deep do you want us to go with this? Because there are cases where there is need for restitution, where generationally they have been tied and some people have been disenfranchised in their family based on your own success. And so you might need to go back there and start resolving. But in most cases, we are carrying baggages that we had no business carrying. Absolutely. I walk with a knowledge that my mom and my dad have prayed away every generational curse that can exist out of my life. So I walk with that confidence as a child of God with freedom.
What if...
But some people...
What if you're the first person in your family to sort of accept Christ and things like that?
So, but some people, that's their reality.
So you're doing the work for the first time for yourself, for your past and for your future. Is it enough that when they say Jesus died on the cross for us, is that enough?
It's enough, Mariam.
Or do we need to...
We still feel there is...
Our
culture makes us feel there is more.
Yes, so I think it's actually supposed to be enough. But we have people who have come from deep-rooted cultures and traditions who, in entering Christianity, they come with those beliefs. That's what's pursuing a lot of people. Because they've seen, like you mentioned, the witches, the demon, this woman in that compound has eaten 16 children. If you pass there, your own, they've seen all of that. They don't just throw away all of those beliefs even when they give their life to Christ. If you judge, juxtapose someone who came from a relatively decent, where there's no deep-rooted enemies pursuing them, and their journey in Christianity, you see that two of them will be at different levels because you are working based on where you picked up from, which is your belief at that time. And we make our beliefs make us. Normally, receiving Jesus as your Lord and personal Savior wipes away your karma. That's the essence of the blood of Jesus. It wipes away that karma. So you have to focus on working out your own salvation right now and not looking back to things that were before, the former things. You move on and then you start working on allowing the Holy Spirit to guide you in your character. You start doing the work now, becoming a better person, understanding the Word of God, reading the Scriptures. You would hear directly from the Holy Spirit. That's why He's there. He's been given to us to teach us and instruct us. He has a job that He's doing. But we are lazy to carry that cross and do the work. And so we look for help. People from the outside who we feel can easily do it for us while we go around with our lives. I had, my father-in-law is a pastor. One time, something happened to a woman in church. And instead of her to start praying, she picked up the phone. And I think something happened, and her son was, maybe... Convulsing, yes. And then, instead of her to start praying and start making arrangements to go to the hospital, the first thing to do was to pick up the phone and call pastor in the middle of the night to start coming down. Pastor, something is happening. So my father-in-law is a pastor and a lawyer. He's very logical. He said, okay, so where are you now? What is happening? Have you prayed? He said, no, I'm just calling you. He said, start praying. Why are you calling me? You're a Christian. Start praying. Don't worry, be praying. I'll get a taxi to come and take you to the hospital. So because we have so much believed in those people, we suspend our reasoning. The things we're supposed to do for ourselves, we're looking for external help.
I wish Nima was on the set because this is turning to be like a Bible...
No, well, it's also Good Friday.
It's a Good Friday.
I mean, it's also Good Friday.
It's nice to mix it up a bit because to hear a different perspective.
She'll come next week.
But you see, this person is saying that... So how do we help people who are in marriages now? So we've talked about all... How do we help somebody who, where they're coming from, their background is, I need to ask for permission from the imam. The imam needs to know they need to come and do these things first. And that is that you've married the person already. This person is saying, be wary of it, but you've already entered the person.
Yeah, but
be wary before you get it.
Yeah, but now that you're inside,
and I'm saying this because let's first give that warning to everybody that has not gotten in. You need to, because I remember when I told my husband that I was born in a white garment church, that it was a major red flag for him. He was like, he was shocked.
Yeah.
So white garment church, they burn candles, they do this. I had to break it down to him that no, the white garment church where I was born in CNS, Ioneer movement.
It's different.
We don't do candles, we don't do Ishe. We don't.
You didn't. My grandmother was from there.
It's a different, they are CNS. I said CNS are your new movement. That's why I clarified.
Oh, they are different ones.
Yes, they are different sectors. We don't do all of that. We don't. So I had to explain it to him, but he had that as something that would trigger him. I think that men that know they cannot condone it should also know. Be aware from this show that you should begin to look at it that I will be worried about this. Then if you have now married, like Mariah said, you've already entered it. You now realize that your wife calls the pastor before every decision, or maybe it's your husband that calls the prophet over every decision. This is your cross.
She should carry it. You should carry it.
This is your cross. My mom was a
prophet-seeking mommy.
Yeah, because my mom grew up in a family where there's a lot of spiritual. It's a polygamous home. They were battles, as in she saw battles, you know, and siblings die. If they prostrate for you, they must not prostrate. Like two people conflicting power for power, that the one wanted to prostrate said, if you prostrate, I will die. You must not prostrate. I know what you came with. So when you grew up seeing that kind of power play on a spiritual level, you know that you must.
So why do we therefore discountenance the influence of this?
No, I didn't. As a young person, I didn't understand what she had to, where she was coming from, and why she felt. But at some point in time, I felt like, Mommy, these battles have been won. They've been won, but you were still fighting. How do you know
they've been won?
No, because Jesus is won based on your faith, and you have prayed, you've fasted, you've done vigil, you've gone to the mountains. The battles have been won. Enter into the field with confidence and take what belongs to you. But you are still back there fighting a battle that has been won. So it took a long time for her to realize it. Thankfully, she has realized it. But for me, I felt like she spent too many years praying over the same thing. Like, I'm sure God is just looking at it like, I've given you freedom.
I'm still knocking on this door.
Walk on. Enter. It's open. You know, so there are people that are in that space right now that they feel there's a spiritual battle. I'm coming from a spiritual... you don't know what I've been through. They killed my mother. They killed my brother. They killed... But you have prayed. You have gone to MFM. You've done deliverance. You have gone to the mountains. You have gone to CAC. You have gone to Abolition. You have gone everywhere. At this point in time, your battle has been won. Face your front and take the victory that, life. You know, we are able to go up and take the country because they know they have the capacity in them. When you find yourself in that situation, they need to now come to the realization, and it comes from knowledge of a conversation. So don't fight your spouse that you see is seeking validation, because you need to understand their spiritual history. Understand their spiritual history.
Yes, that's
Treat
what I'm
them
going
with
to.
Compassion.
Yes.
But help them realize that the victory. Mariah, let me give you this true life story. I'm coming back we went for a vigil. We were going to CAC Wosem in Amuodofin. We've prayed. We have bound, and as in, I could not sleep like this in the church. Mommy will pinch me. I must be awake. We finished praying. We are walking back home, and a bird is flying innocently. And my mommy is casting and binding the bird. I said, Mommy, have you not finished killing all the devils inside the vigil? Why? Leave the bird alone. We are walking in victory. Mommy, we are walking in victory. We are walking in victory. We are walking in victory.
Her understand.
I had to help her understand that you have dealt with the demons. Yes. Now we have victory. We are walking now home in victory, not casting and binding again.
It sounded like Sunday school, babe.
I hope it was not vulture. It was a vulture. So, with, the examples that you gave, there are people who get into marriages, and in fact, they are both on the same, same mindset. Maybe they're not really born again or really into any religious beliefs. They're just living, cruising and vibing, right? And then one of them finds God. And you know how new converts can be. Everybody's in trouble. Everybody's in trouble. And there's this where you give them, okay, we're hoping for a few months or 3 months. You even join them, do some of the activities. After a while, it now overpowers you. Like, takes over everything. There has to be a point where it's, you know, where the other spouse can sit you down and say, I know this is your journey, but it is getting too much. And then hopefully the person, the religion or the person that that they are in this new relationship with, hopefully that person is wise enough to also step in such a way that you say, yes, I know that you're on this new journey, you're trying to find God, but not so much to the detriment of your marriage, not to the detriment of your relationship with your wife or your husband, not to the detriment of how often your children get to see you. And this is where, when you said that sometimes he uses the foolish things to confound the wise, and people take that also to mean like, okay, I'm doing this for God, and everybody that talks against it is against God, and so all of you are devils. So you hope that that person is in a sort of movement now, that they're able to sit you both down and help guide you so that you're carrying this, your newfound faith, you know, alongside with your family. I've given this example before, like, you know, sometimes I remember my mom, when she gets into this, her spiritual, she will beat everybody for not waking up at a certain time, you know, like, it's 5 a.m., you're not up praying, you know, and she goes on, and then before you know it, she has found another thing that she's doing, and she drags you alongside. And what happens to the other people, that it almost breeds resentment. You're like, you know what, I don't even want to be part of this, because every time you are in church, it just scatters everybody. So for the person, you're also saying to yourself, be careful so that you don't push people even away from God.
Let me take this call from Sheon from Ikeja. Olua, Sheon, you're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A great topic today.
Thank you.
Let me just go straight into it. You see, it is our sin, African sin, to always consult. You know, we want to consult the oracle, we want to consult. So it is our sin. You know, before Christianity and then, other religion came in. You know, so, and then we carry those baggages into, you know, the new faith that we have. So now it will take time. And again, after entering that new faith, we now see, you know, leaders, men of God, prophets, who is now aiding that baggages that we brought into, you know, that new faith of, you know, consultation. So, you know, that faith, that Christianity is supposed to tell us, okay, now you see, hold on. You have to know God for yourself. You know, it's no longer there. We now have, you know, prophets and, you know, men of God or imam who are now aiding, you know, that consultation. So what we need is more education from these our leaders, more
our leaders.
More word that help with faith. I like what this said. You know, you start with the milk.
Right.
You know, it has to do with, you know.
Thank you very much, Olua. I'm not sure if our leaders have anything to do with.
No,
Let me paint this scenario for you. This is a wife. So she goes for service, maybe midweek service, comes back 9 p.m., stay with her husband a bit. She wakes up at midnight to pray. She prays till 2 a.m. The man is wondering, you should be in bed. She doesn't answer. 5 a.m. she's up again, and maybe she's killing demons because she's hearing birds. She's hearing birds, and she's covered and anointing, and you know the whole thing. And then wakes up 5 a.m. in the morning. So doesn't allow the help to do the food, because she has to be the one to do it, because she doesn't trust that the help might poison family. So she's there to do it. She's tired. Grandma comes in. She's worried about what grandma brought from the village. She's checking everything, and she doesn't allow grandma to enter their bedroom. You must not enter her room. This is the only place you're supposed, you know.
And she does not knack too, because she needs energy.
Probably doesn't knack also, because she's always up all night.
My sister.
And then she does, you know, so that is a husband. I'm just giving a scenario. A husband who has a woman like that and is worried that this person, I don't have a wife. I just have somebody who's on clock, constantly going for vigil, coming back from midweek service. You know, they are back to back.
Religious activities.
Too many activities back to back.
And there's no time.
There's really hardly time for anything.
There's no time for reflection.
Yeah.
There's no time to receive direct instruction
From God.
Because you are moving everywhere. You are running helter-skelter, chasing what is not chasing you. And the truth of the matter is, when you get very close to this person, the character will be dirty. because she has not had time to fine-tune how to talk to people nicely, to fine-tune being nice. I went to school where we had a lot of people who did all of these activities in the hostels with us, and we saw how mean they can be. We saw how revengeful they can be. We saw how wicked they can be. I've been wondering, but this person is always carrying Bible to come and preach to me. You are very wicked. You don't let things go. You don't forgive. Because the activities are so much on the outside that the focus is not on the inside and having a proper connection with God and building yourself. So this is what I would tell that man. Sit your wife down and have a conversation. I married you. I did not marry this religion. I need a wife who I will come back from work, who will have a conversation with me, who will talk to me, who will help me rub my back or whatever it is that, makes you sleep at night, who would pay attention to the children. I'm not running helter-skelter from one spiritual place to the other. It's not working. Have that conversation if you have already made that mistake. And as a man or a woman in a home, you people should have your own tradition, your own family tradition. This is the time that we pray, this time to do this time to do that. Then have that conversation and see how she would have to change. And I know that it seems very difficult because the person will say, you are the demon they want to use now to stop me from this new faith. But also make sure that this person is having enough time to receive. There's something I tell people when I'm coaching them. I say, imagine when God told Abraham, stop. The first instruction was go and kill your son, right? And he carried Isaac to the altar. He has done the firewood and everything. Imagine when God said, stop, he did not hear. And he killed that boy for nothing. And then goes back to blame God. That boy, you gave me the first instruction. We must have time to listen to the instructions. That time is very important because when you have that time, you see that some of these battles we are fighting is already won. If you are talking about people that come from families with very deep-rooted, I am number one. As a matter of fact, in my culture, I shouldn't be married. I should be at home right now with my father, doing sacrifices from one Asaba house to the other. That's the work for my family. But I looked at them in the eye and said, me that like man, this is not for me. Find another Ada. I'm the direct Ada of that lineage. And it's a river, it's a woman, right? I'm supposed not to be married at all or have children. I will be in my father's house. If I want a man, I can bring. That's the culture. And that's what they started transferring from generation to generation. When it got to my father's turn, my father said, no, I have to give my life to Christ because I don't want this to affect my children. And I'm living my life well. I'm not looking back to say, oh yeah, today. Because I've also, and start binding demons. I've also understood that prayers are energy. What you focus on comes back to you multiplied. So you see why those people praying against demons, keep having those demons.
In their dreams.
That's their focus. When I sit down to pray and do my meditation, I focus on positive things. I focus on abundance. I focus on good health. I focus on wealth. I don't pray about demons. I don't care about them. They cannot touch me, right? I put my focus, and that is what I manifest back to me. 100%. So we must inform those people, our mothers that are into all these things, our aunties, tell them, Mama, read your Bible. Read it. God will talk to you. Don't worry, read it. God will talk to you. Set up Sunday schools. Teach them. Let them read it. Don't worry, Mommy. Settle down. God will speak to you directly.
Right, okay.
I feel like, hallelujah, somebody. This is church. This is church at a different level. Yeah, Good Friday.
Good Friday.
I'm really giving some good message to people because what you don't know, you don't know. And the lack of knowledge is what has kept a lot of people trapped.
Yeah.
And it is a very, very deep, dark place to be in where there's so much hopelessness, and the only hope that comes to them is when they hear that word of light from the pastors. And so that's why there's that consistent going, I have to be in church, I have to be in church every morning, I have to be in church every night. I think that we're sharing a lot of knowledge, and I think people should take our time to think about it. Don't listen to us and think we're just people on TV. We're just talking. We don't know spiritual things.
We're just it's just our opinion.
Yeah, people will sit down and they'll be like, these people, they don't want mankakan. Oh, see, raye, raye.
As if you see life.
Like if you see, you've not seen the world. There's something about the deep part of the world. So there is Ajah. Ajah is not just life. It's like a mystery.
There was a time.
The world. And they will look at us and not take what we're saying. Both male, now there are men in this place too. Both male and female feel like Ajah. Please, Ajah is subject to how you say it. People see things, and it is important that you take the time. I feel that there are many churches that are profiteering off the weakness of our flesh and the insecurities that we have and the baggages we carry. They don't give us freedom, but they give us tools to keep us trapped. because in that circle, they are getting profits. So it's important that you see for who they are, a pastor that is pushing the narrative of fear, and those that are pushing the narrative of faith and strength, and go to the Bible and study it yourself. For Christians, for Muslims, Nima would always say it. She does not bow to any sheikh. She does not go and she's not a part of any sect.
She knows her scriptures.
She knows the Quran for herself. She understands her rights.
I had an
important knowledge.
Many years ago, when I used to live in my mom's house, and I used to have some, when I sleep, in my mattress, it was as if there were things inside, like you just be feeling some kind of, I used to tell my mom it was like snake. Now run upstairs, Mommy, there's a snake in my bed. What kind of snake? Of course, the first person she called was her pastor. So he came to the house, and this was the pastor from camp. He would come and pray. Into my sleep, I'll be feeling something, like what is going on? He keeps praying. But do you know, it was until my mother herself came downstairs, both of us held our hands together and really, really scabashed in our room, that I started seeing that things now change. Because it was us activating what we've learned. An power of agreement between two people who are together.
Yes.
So sometimes it's like understanding the word for yourself. But I don't want us to discountenance the part that
there's a role of advice.
There's a role for deliverance. There's serious.
Well, I've never done any.
There's serious need for deliverance in some level.
No,
at some level.
Yes, the deliverance.
Deliver from what?
There might be
deliverance from the powers of darkness.
But who is doing the deliverance? And because we put it into context, there are some people that feel, if you feel you need deliverance, go for deliverance.
Absolutely.
You understand? But I strongly feel, I know someone, and it's so sad when I told you I went to, when I had a miscarriage. They said it was blighted ovum. I went to MFM to just have like a quiet time. They didn't let me have a quiet time in MFM. They came to knock my room door and say I should join the prayer. And after that was why you were rest. I wasn't there to join the prayer. I wanted to have a quiet time to pray, to communicate
they don't believe
with God.
in that kind of prayer.
I told them, I said I needed to pray. That I came here to have like a private prayer time with God. You know the way Jesus takes time to go to the mountain. He wasn't going to visit any pastor. I wanted to just go to a quiet place and pray. That was how they came to knock my door. They didn't let me pray in my room. I must join the prayer. I met a woman I knew who was doing deliverance. And she said she comes for deliverance. 5 years after, she comes for deliverance every month. 5 years after, I saw her there's a church close to Daystar, TCC. They are doing deliverance.
Again, she said
she's still there doing deliverance. She's been doing deliverance for about 18 years now. And she does deliverance every month.
Wow.
That for me,
that reminds me of
needs knowledge, not deliverance.
Hey.
So you need to understand that the deliverance is in the knowledge of the fact that you have been delivered 18 years ago, and you did not know. So this is us telling
you did not know
you have been delivered. You just did not know.
But some things also
social media, please.
some things also need
well said.
Consistent deliverance.
Yemi Salami said, well said. Let me see what else you're saying. Go ahead. Any more comments?
I was going to say that this altar call of give your life to Christ. I've been in church where one pastor said, I've been seeing some people every Sunday. We ask,
don't come out again.
We ask you to come and give your life to Christ.
You now, just in case you fall.
Because they give on Sunday and collect it back on Monday. So they need to go back.
Let's take a few comments.
Yes.
Let's walk.
BC is a coach. She's a system where you can register. Join a class, guys. Let's go and learn. That's right. Talk about knowledge is power in everything. Oluwaseun, okay, they are having their personal, these are our YouTube people, they are having personal conversations within themselves. So it makes it, some of the prophets use magical means to hypnotize people. Don't forget that. I can't depend on anyone for my life. God's message is good. Good messages on Good Friday. He's enjoying our message that we're sharing right now. Let me see.
Okay.
We now filter information and conversation, aka mental abuse. So he's saying that we must learn to filter information that we get. Very important.
All right. So I think what the objective of this conversation really is to highlight the fact that there are people who are living under a lot of distress right now because they have a spouse who is dependent on prophets and imams and clerics and all that. And they're saying, listen, this has become a heartache. So our conversation really is not just to highlight the issue, but to help those who are in there. So you've said that you have conversations.
Yes.
Also, is there any way where you can also recognize where the person is coming from? And I don't know, I mean, I'm trying to see how I can put this well. There are situations where there are deep-rooted problems. Maybe somebody's been married. There's a family I know. They were married for 30 years. For the first 25 years, they didn't have children. And the woman did everything under the sun to get pregnant. She went to Babalawo, she went to prayer, she was just looking for solution. You know, she never, ever found that solution. 30 years later, they now had a child. And of course, we all celebrated, they had in vitro. We all celebrated it. But the point is, those things is what lead people to look for solutions. Yeah. In that period, how do we advise somebody who's going through some serious spiritual difficulty, how they can actually help themselves?
It may still not be spiritual. Yeah, we just have 2 seconds. So.
Oh, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
It may not be spiritual.
But yes, just to end
be...
it quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say that there are some people who are married to their spouses and they are disappointed that they don't come and meet you praying from morning till night. So there are those people.
There are those ones.
That actually would like, this woman, you're just sleeping. You don't have fighting war outside. You know, there's something like that.
Mariah is in that.
I'll be sleeping. My husband will pray like, you're just sleeping.
You know what you just
A woman like you, you're not just sleeping.
I'm an only child. My mom prayed, fasted,
I have to go talk with
sowed
him.
seeds.
There's no
But it
time.
did not happen in her lifetime, for her, through her. It doesn't mean God does not exist or God does not love her. So sometimes it might not be through the counseling.
We run out of time.
Yeah.
That is all we can take. Happy Good Friday to all our Christian brothers and sisters. And have a safe Easter. We'll see you Monday by God's grace. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.